One's ready. One's ready. Go! So you guys are going into Special Warfare Assessment Selection. It is an attributes-based selection model. What does that mean?
Guys, are we running right now to get fitter? Are we practicing running? Practicing.
I can't freaking...
So there's a holistic picture that we're looking for. The instructors are giving you input, and we're expecting an output. And everything is for a reason. If you guys haven't heard my spiel yet, everything that we do, every single exercise, has a connection to the job that you're trying to do. We don't want people at INDOC, Special Warfare Assessment Selection, whatever they're gonna call the new course when it inevitably changes somewhere down the road. I don't care what they call it. What I need is you to show me the raw materials for the things that I wanna build you into. Just like everything else, it's a crawl, walk, run.
I'm running Keystone just like this. All the way to ATC, you never quit. All the way to ATC, you never quit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. Before we hop into this next episode with Morgan, who was a prior Blackwater mercenary, sounds weird, even though that we said mercenary several times, so did he. But yeah.
He's not here, so it feels weird to call him a mercenary if he's not here saying it himself.
Oh my God, he's a mercenary. So he's also the author of Guns, Girls, and Greed, prior Blackwater mercenary and private military contractor. But let's talk about some of our favorite folks. But let me tell you how to get there first, though. All right, so you head over to onesready.com, okay, because that's where we do most of our business. Then you head over to the right-hand side where it says prep and then partner discounts. Click on partner discounts and then scroll on down to where you see Attack Elite. Now, Attack Elite gives you any of the gear that we're kind of using during the pipeline. So you got rocket fins, you got booties. Make sure you buy booties with rocket fins if you're going to do that. They have high volume masks. They have Alice rucks, ropes, smartwatches, and all that kind of good stuff. But you can't buy their stuff from our website. So what you got to do is, what's that?
What? So is there like a hyperlink right there that you can click on?
There is. Actually, every time it says Attack Elite, there's a hyperlink. So you can just click on any of those. Now, what I am going to have to do is show you guys, I got to swap screens here, right? Because what's going to do is it's going to take you to their site. Oh, but look at this. Even though it says Jared has sent it to you, it's actually One's Ready. I don't know why it says Jared, but whatever.
That's exactly what it means. It means Jared.
I am giving you guys a discount.
Jared actually has to pay the 10% that you're not paying every time you buy something from Attack Elite using this code.
Oh, not an email, but just hit that redeem coupon and it's going to generate a code for you to get a discount. Okay. So just make sure you don't have pop-up blockers enabled. That way you can, get your discount and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, Attack Elite, we've been with them for a couple of years now. They're good partners of ours and we enjoy having them. And, a lot of the folks show up to our operator training summits, which we still have slots available for the Nashville, October 25th and 26th. So sign up, you can buy it straight from the website, or you can, if you are interested in it, you can email me at jared@onesready.com and I can get you all the details there to secure your spot. Now, Morgan Lerette, dude, good stories, funny stories, and then things took a turn for Serious Town, which we're going to have to bring him on for a second.
Yeah, this was definitely part one because we started to delve into some stuff at the end and it's like, bro, we only got 5 minutes left. We're going to have to sit down and have a real serious talk for the second episode. But man, it is kind of fun talking through some of the stuff where it's like we were all in the Middle East around the same time. A lot of stuff happens. A lot of the rumors that we heard, he can confirm or deny some of that stuff. So it's a good episode. And then the follow-up will be amazing.
And a tough one
important
too.
Yeah.
I got a feeling I'll be pretty pissy pants on it, but whatever.
Yep.
So, all right, everybody, enjoy the episode. Later.
The joke is that we'll get on here and we'll start talking to the guests, and sometimes we'll talk to a guest like in the pre-show and we'll say, hey, this is the team, what do you want to talk about? And then they go into like 10 minutes of great content that we end up missing, and Peaches gets super ticked off about it. And the only thing that makes him more mad is when I steal the intro.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. It's Peaches, it's me. It's our good friend, dirty mercenary Morgan Lerette, that's going to give you the actual side of war and what it was like to work for Blackwater. He's got a great platform, Blackwater Dude, over on Instagram. We have several text messages that are unhinged, and I never know what we were going to talk about. So, Morgan, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Tell everybody kind of like who you are and what led you to being a dirty mercenary. And then obviously we're going to talk about the book, Guns, Girls, and Greed, which is a fantastic look at contracting and some of the hot and heaviness of GWAT. So, man, break us off. Where'd you come from? How'd you get here?
You want the origin story where it's like, and then my parents were shot by this guy that had a big clown. No, I wasn't that.
I was a wee little lad, and Eric Prince came and saved me.
Yeah.
Eric Prince adopted me.
I grew up in his basement, but it was like a bat cave.
Now
not
you're
in his basement.
It's like you're a mix of like Bane and Batman at this point.
There you go. That's all I need to be. No, dude. I mean, my origin story is the same as like a lot of the guys that were pre-GWAT. I was like the white trash kid from small town USA. Grew up in Cottonwood, Arizona. I was like the recruiter's wet dream. They lined up outside of my house and were like, oh my God, he's got nothing going on for him. We can totally get this guy in. So, I mean, my guidance counselor was like one of those sneaky people that was like, you don't have to worry about college, but I got some guys I want you to meet. And then like the Marine Corps recruiter walks in and he's like, you want to blow stuff up? So yeah, dude, it was like, I had nothing going on. I didn't want to work construction for the rest of my life. And I was talking to recruiters and I came home. I lived with my grandparents and my grandpa's like, hey, if you're going to join the military, go in the Air Force. They have way better food. And dude, that is all the thought I put into it. That was it.
I gotta ask you something. Now, we got a very weird DM one time that says that we should watch our language because we're not recruiting construction workers. Are you telling me you're a construction worker?
Yes, I was absolutely a construction worker. All that porta potty art that you saw when you were overseas, the origin story for that is from construction sites, dude. I was seeing that stuff before I even joined up.
Wait a minute, are you guys like, because that's a real thing with like some of these people like take poop with their hand and just make art like that. You're talking about like Sharpies and writing stuff and drawing stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a gorilla, bro.
But have you not seen it? And
I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, dude, what is the kind of person that will poop in their hand and then just like, oh,
Peaches, we are 3 minutes into this demonetized podcast. I just want to put that out there. So anyway, that's tight.
Let's be free.
The better part is like, what if it's already in there and you got to go in the blue water? Like that's what
art comes from, though. The blue water and
that's what gives it the hue.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so dude, I joined the Air National Guard out of high school. There's no wars on the horizon. I was like, get some college, get some training, become a security forces, which is, by the way, the worst job in the Air Force. Like I tell everybody, go join the Air Force. Don't be security forces because it's like they eat their own. They try to pretend like they're infantry, but all I did was stand out on a flight line and stare at a plane and be like, please don't steal this plane tonight.
Dude, Morgan, we are going to get so much hate.
Is that a big problem?
Providing a platform for you to talk like that.
How dare you?
Bands of people stealing airplanes? Is that
no? But we did on it was St. Patrick's Day. We had somebody jump over a fence and steal the ladders that go up to the plane and drive it around our flight line once. So something like it could happen. I'm saying it could, and they don't have keys. So you could theoretically hop in that thing fired up if you wanted to, but
I bet Grok could tell me how to fire up a 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I apologize for all those Defensor Fortis guys, but dude, I wore the beret and I did not enjoy it. It was like, hey, dude, before pre 9/11, you didn't have to show your ID card. So, right, you got the blue sticker, you got the yellow sticker, you got the red sticker, and it was literally like I just called it not a tank. It was like, not a tank. You're not a tank. Come on, you're not a tank. Oh, I gotta salute this, not a tank. Like it was not nearly as much like military police as it was holy crap security. They should just call it like security police. I don't know, dude. It was not my cup of tea. But dude, I read a ton. I read a ton of books. Nora Roberts, if you guys haven't picked up one of her books in a while, I mean, romance novelist. You guys apparently have not.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, Like, does Nora Roberts do something in the military space? And I was like, no, I'm relatively sure she's a romance writer.
Yeah.
No, I did.
Okay.
I read some of her books. That's how bored you get on the flight line. But dude, so then Osama bin Laden was like, "Hey Morgan, I got other things for you to do. I'm gonna run some planes into these buildings." And then it was like off to the races. We got activated for 2 straight years. I went to Oman for my first deployment. I don't know if anybody went to Masira Air Base, but we had our own beach, our own Burger King, 2 beers a day. It was like, dude, it was hell. Like for Air Force guys, it was like the worst thing that I had ever experienced in my life.
The biggest thing about Masira was I remember early on. This is like 2002, and there was rumors, and maybe there's some truth to it. So maybe you can confirm it. But there was an airman that was a forklift driver that had gotten put in for a BSM for just doing a lot of forklift driving, and everybody was like, "Wait a minute, we're actually here in Afghanistan doing things, and this dude got a BSM for driving a forklift? Like,
Dude, your
what?"
jealousy about not being forklift certified is shining through right now. All right, Jared. Like those guys are heroes.
I'm a hater.
Yeah.
Dude, when they say forklift operator, focus on the operator part, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. I didn't hear that. We had the AC-130 gunships. When you were in Afghanistan, you probably flew into Oman when I was there, because you guys would do R&R. So when we went in and picked you up on those flyaway missions, we call them, we'd always bring Playboys and stuff and try to hand them around. So I don't know if you were on one of my flights.
No, I never see the Playboy.
Yeah. Well, dude, like 90% of the pages were ripped out by the time you got to the third.
Yeah.
So dude, I did Oman, and then I came back for a hernia surgery, and they're like, "Hey Morgan, you want to go to Jordan?" And they sent us to like some super secret base in Jordan, the one where you like walk off the plane and they give you the smallpox vax. I don't know if you guys got to enjoy that, but like you get the smallpox vax, and then they have the shower tent and the 5-gallon buckets of that you put in the water coolers. And they're like, peel off your Band-Aid before you shower and put it in that. And it's like, just, dude, it was like the grossest, stinkiest, nastiest place on earth. And it was mostly just because of these smallpox, like Band-Aids. And then they said, oh, by the way, we're going into Iraq. So they sent us into Iraq during the ground offensive, 2003. The Jessica Lynch rescue came out of Tulil Air Base, like Al Nasiriyah. Like I got in there just as all that stuff was kicking off, and it was pretty cool. And I got to watch it from my nods, and that's as close to combat as I ever got. And it's kind of a bummer, right? Like you train all this time and you get all hua and you're going into war, and then all you do is you stand on a flight line, and literally like people dropping off cargo and saying, "Hey, I think that pallet's mine." I was like, dude, I don't know whose it is. That forklift driver probably got a BSM, literally, for like putting these pallets on these trucks, dude. So. Yeah, dude, I thought that was the end of my illustrious career. I got my Air Force Achievement Medal with Combat V. You guys don't have to be jealous, but like it's true, it's real. Those did happen. Yeah,
Nice.
That's amazing.
The Combat V being like,
I want a good conduct medal with a V. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look, I'm not trying to brag, but I got it hanging up in my wall. It's back behind the sign.
Do you have your ribbon rack on like the back window of your truck?
Dude, that's it. Except it's just the Combat V. Like I didn't put the medal under it because I don't want people to think that I'm like that hardcore.
Right. Easy, Tim Kennedy. I can't believe I'm gonna have to do some research. I don't know if you can actually get a Combat V on a good conduct medal, but we'll figure it out.
It's not good conduct. It's Air Force Achievement Medal, bro.
Oh,
I'm a man.
I'm aware that's the show.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Yeah,
Take it easy.
like, come on. So, dude, like, I was done, but my buddy was like, I'm going to go work for Blackwater. He saw the guys get hanged off the bridge in Fallujah and was like, that sounds like a cool thing to do. He's a former Force Recon Marine. And I was like, have fun, bro. Blackwater 04, it's not like LinkedIn was available. It was all word of mouth stuff. So he's like, I'm going to get to Blackwater. I'm going to put in a good word. They're going to give you a call. And I just went to bed because let's be honest here, they were never going to call me. Like, I'm not trying to talk crap about security forces again, but like everything you heard about back then was Navy SEALs, Green Berets, PJs. That was it. Turns out that they didn't have enough of those guys to actually fill the contract. So I did get a call. And the guy's like, hey, you want to go work for Blackwater? And I was like, not really, bro. It's like $500 a day. And I was like, yeah, I do. Actually, I would like to work for you guys.
It turns out, yeah, I actually do want to do that.
Yeah. So
You
I get
can't
to
buy me. Wait,
uh,
yes, you can.
wait, make it $500.04, and I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So, dude, they send you money to Moyac, North Carolina. It's June. I don't know if you guys have been to Moyac.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's like,
Disgusting.
I mean, it's like the butthole of. It's not as bad as Polk, but dude, it is bad.
Yeah.
It is like hurricane season. So we do this like mile-and-a-half run, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, dummy drag. That's your PT test. We still lost people on it. And then we lost a ton of people on the range. Because back in 2003, before the wars were really kicking off, you didn't have this surfeit of individuals that was ready to go private military contract. So these guys that have been former Rangers and cool guy stuff, they hadn't shot in 10, 15 years. You get out of the range and these guys just couldn't shoot anymore. Like, it's a perishable skill. So we lost a bunch of guys there. We lost a bunch of dudes for the security clearance. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the guys that do really cool jobs have a really hard problem staying out of debt. So it's like, I only owe the IRS like $280,000. What do you mean I can't go? Like, I'm going to pay him back, I swear. So, dude, we started with 50 dudes, and then we were down to like 22, 25 by the end. And then even then, a few of them couldn't get their security clearances, so they started going over on DoD contracts. But that's how I found myself, like, late July, early August, working for Blackwater, the U.S. Embassy in the Green Zone. And I was like, what in the hell did I get myself into? And it was awesome. Because, dude, I didn't belong there. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, you
Go ahead.
did, because you made it there and all those other chuckleheads didn't. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you came, like what your job was, but you could shoot, you could do all the things effectively enough, and you weren't $280,000 in debt.
I mean,
So-
thank you for that. That was actually like the nice boost for my ego this morning. But it was, dude, I mean, it's crazy because I'm sitting there next to like these Navy SEALs, pararescue guys, Rangers, you name it. And they're like, what did you do? And I was like, security forces. I was security forces. But dude, the
if
cool
you
thing
met more
about,
of them, you would understand that that was nothing.
oh, dude, I totally understood it later. Yeah. But at the time, you're just sitting there like, okay, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, listen to these dudes, do what I need to do, and just try to fit in. And the one thing that I do have for me is I'm like a route savant. If I drive a route one time, I'll remember that route for the rest of my life. So, like, first thing they did is, hey, you're going to be the driver. I was a tactical commander by the time October that year came out. They're like, get us from convoy from point A to point B, get that principal back safe. And I mean, to Blackwater's credit, they never lost a principal in the entire time that they were there. So we were building the plane as we flew it, but at the same time, we were still airborne, and it was just a cool gig back in the day.
I remember, and I guess it probably, and you can probably correct me with this is what year was Fallujah? Was that 04? Was that the big push? 04, 05?
Yeah, so the Blackwater guys got hanged in March, and then we pushed into Fallujah with the Marines, I believe, in April.
Okay.
And then they stopped, and they were trying to negotiate, and then they actually took Fallujah again in October 2005. Or no, I'm sorry, October 2004. I know that because I was supposed to go to Sulaymaniyah, and they were like, hey, we got 3 or 4 days, guys, go get packed. And they were like, never mind, you guys have 2 hours, get on this plane. Every air asset's being diverted to Fallujah, as of tomorrow. So yeah, it was late, but somewhere in October.
Okay, yeah, because I was at the unit, the 21st STS, and we had a guy that was there that had separated, right, and specifically for that $500, $600, $700 a day kind of thing, and he had done Afghanistan, he had done the initial invasion into Iraq, so he had already was used to, hey, when you get into troops in contact, you call for help, and the entire cavalry comes, all assets. That was not the case for Blackwater, and I remember and this is before iPhones and stuff like that, so he had the Nokia brick or a Motorola Razr or something like that, right? And he was deployed with Blackwater in Fallujah, and they were getting overrun, and he was by himself up on a rooftop, and nobody knew he was up there because he was hiding, and he didn't have any of the numbers saved in his phone. But what he did remember was the phone number to the front desk back in North Carolina at Bragg. So he called that number and said, I need to talk to, whoever was the chief or the commander right now. And then so through like a bunch of tie-ins and looking up phone numbers, then got him back to whatever it would have been that he called to get help and say, hey, I'm right here. But it was a big transition for him because you call on the radio and everybody comes and everybody's going to start dropping bombs to save you. And then there's rescue assets. That was not the case for Blackwater back then. You were, no kidding, you got your team and you're on your own. Like, that's it.
I mean, if you got a sat phone, you were like really important back then. Because if you got to the outskirts of Baghdad, we would call in on the radio to our talk and you couldn't get to them. And then if you like running down from Baghdad to Al Hilla, there was no comms at all. And there was actually a convoy in 05 that got hit. One of the Blackwater guys died and they were in Mambas and they tried with sat phones. They tried everything. There is no support. I mean, that's what you're getting paid for. You don't get to call, big army to come help you out. You're lucky if they're driving past. We did have that a couple times. We got into an accident. Big army dragged us back in because they happened to be on. But it was literally just you and probably 11 dudes and a principal. And if something happened, it was like, all right.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I do remember also there was a point in time where Blackwater was looking to do its own kind of gunships and using CASAs, if I remember right. And they were going to put some kind of GAU or 50 cal on there and have like a little CASA gunship. But I don't think it ever came to fruition.
No, it absolutely did not. But I'll tell you what, they did have a CASA. So they flew us into Jordan. They left us at the Bristol Hotel. The Bristol Hotel's beautiful. It's like the nicest hotel I'd ever seen. I was used to like maybe a Holiday Inn if I was really upgrading back then. And they drop us off in front of this little CASA. They put the back ramp down. You take all your crap up there. And as you fly into Baghdad, dude, the pilots, the problem is they also work for Blackwater. So they don't tell you when you're coming in. Dude, I'm not even buckled in. I got my laptop. I'm literally playing that stupid game Minesweeper, which you can't figure out. And it just lifts off my lap. And I was like, dude, I'm dead. Like, I'm praying. And I'm not even the most religious guy. I'm saying prayers. Like, I'm apologizing. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Grandma. Like, I did not mean to go out this way. And they start corkscrewing in. And it's so violent that they ended up like, they didn't snap a strut, but they cracked one of the struts to the CASA, right? Because it's just like, it's those ones that you jump out of when you're.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they cracked one of those struts and the guy literally puts the ramp down and he tethers himself in and then he sits down on the back and puts his legs over the side like he's just like on a swing. And he's got like an AK-47 or an RPK, hands us all AK-47s. Like, if something bad happens, we'll just figure it out. I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is not how I expected this thing to go. Because, dude, they tell you you're going to get all these armored vehicles. Oh, don't worry. We're going to pick you up in armored vehicles. Dude, they picked us up in a Peugeot that had like steel plates that were welded to the side of it with the windows down. And they're like, hey, there's some body armor. So if we get into the poop, you can like reach down and grab that plate and put it up by the window. And you'll be fine. Like, don't sweat it. Like this was Blackwater 04, man. It's like vintage wine. It's just good for your soul, maybe. I don't know.
So did you ever, I mean, there had to be a point where you're like, I've made a mistake. Oh, this is bad. But it seems like you were just all in. I mean, you went up to being the route commander thanks to your weaponized autism that was, finally paying benefits. Like, I know exactly where to go all the time. Like, you're the most useful guy. But there had to be some times where you're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, not me. Like, what am I doing here? Why did I? But you just kind of roll with it, right? Dude, when that Casa bird started spiraling in, I was like, what the hell is going on? When they picked me up in the Peugeot and told me, like, they gave us this body armor that was like drenched in other people's sweat. They gave us an M4 1-round magazine, and they're like, don't worry, we're just going on Route Irish, which is the most bombed route in Iraq in 2004. Don't sweat it, guys. And then once they dropped us off, it was like this weird waiting game where nobody tells you what's going on. It's kind of like the military. Nobody tells you what's going on. Walk us into the embassy after like dude, I think I'd been up for like 36 hours. And they take your death picture, you know, the one that they put on your obituary because they're too lazy to reach out to your parents to find one where you're smiling. It's this one. Yeah. So they take your death picture and then they give you your weapons and they're like, all right, we'll let you know what's going on here. And I remember like the first time I really thought, holy crap, what was I into is they had this rooster in the morning and it sounded a lot like mortars and rockets coming in because every morning, like right at sunup, they would drive on the other side of the river and they'd shoot rockets and mortars at us. And we're in this big tent. And you wake up to the first rocket and you're like, oh, that's not bad. And then this, like the second one hits and you're like, okay, that was really close. And everybody's sitting up in their bed. And then the third one hits, it's really close. You feel that overpressure. And one guy races out of the tent and we look at him and go, pussy. And then we all run after him. Because like, dude, it's like this dick measuring contest when you worked for Blackwater. You didn't want to be the first one that was like scared or anything. So, dude, I knew day one, I was like, what the hell did I get myself into? And then you kind of ease into it, right?
So for the folks out there, like not tracking, like what was Blackwater's actual mission? Like when you signed up to go do the thing, what was on the paper that said this is the thing that we do, and what kind of stuff were you guys getting into?
All right, I gotta start at the beginning because when Paul Brimmer came in, he disbanded the Bath Party. And everybody knows that he got rid of the military, and we say that that's the worst thing that he possibly could have done. But what most people don't realize is he also got rid of the entire government of Iraq. Everybody that ran anything was a Bath Party member. The people collecting garbage, electricity, selling oil, stock market, you name it, all those guys were gone. So the State Department came in and said, hey, we're going to, now that we've won, we all saw George W. Bush on the ship, victory, whatever.
Obviously, like mission accomplished, baby. We did it.
We'd already won this thing. So theoretically, it became a diplomatic mission to tell them how to build their country or to show them. And they didn't have people to protect all these diplomats that were coming in. That's where Blackwater started. Like, that's Blackwater's origin story. That's Bane. That's Batman. That's everything. So when you have a diplomat that is all the way up from like Colin Powell down to low-level diplomats that are teaching people how to use Excel spreadsheets, our entire mission is protect this guy. We're going to take him from point A to point B and get him back safely. And how you do that and the rules of engagement are really kind of up to you. Like, none of that stuff has been defined. So how do we do it? We did it violently. Like, why wouldn't you? It's like, that car is in my way. What do I have to do to get it out of my way? Well, I guess I just smash into it. That's how you do it. So it really was just protecting diplomats all over the country at any given moment.
The crazy thing about that, sorry, Trent, the crazy thing about that mission accomplished thing where he landed, that was in 2003. President Bush landed on that aircraft carrier, and it was 2003 when he put up mission accomplished. I'm shocked here, but I seem to remember GWOT going on until like 2021.
Yeah, I'd have to take my shoes off to do those numbers, but
right,
it wasn't great. So it was all those Department of State contracts, right? You guys came in, you were running around, developing your kind of like on the fly rules of engagement, but that's kind of what everybody was doing, right? Like I remember, doing some stuff later, and it's all the same thing. It's like, hey, man, we've learned these lessons. It's just like when you guys learned those lessons. To smash the cars, not let anybody get close to you, all that other stuff. You guys were just in a much more precarious situation. But I have to say, one of the things that we always looked at the contractors and we were jealous about was how little equipment you had to hump around. We're like, man, how awesome would it be to not have this giant radio on my back and all this other crap, all this life-saving nonsense that I have with me so that I can reach out and call for help, and instead just have 3 to 7 mags, a rifle, and maybe like a little Motorola walkie-talkie with me that doesn't work for anything running around the city. Like, how was that?
Dude, those Motorola's were way heavier than what you're implying. Okay, like they were the Motorola 9000s. They were like top of the line. No, well, dude, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Like Peaches was saying earlier, like we didn't have the same equipment. You couldn't have anything heavier than a 240 Bravo. That was it. So if we wanted something different, if we wanted AKs or RPKs, whatever, we had to go and get those things on the local economy, which you absolutely could, because you could get beer, you could get steroids, you could get guns. Dude, it was like the most masculine place. It's probably like I don't know, going into downtown Las Vegas. Like you just get whatever you want whenever you want it.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
So
I was gonna say, yeah, that's accurate.
so dude, it was like you did have a lot less to go with, but we didn't have the up armor. So we had two Humvees. We didn't have any up armor. We had to go to Big Army and start trading them the devil's cough syrup, which is Jack Daniels. Be like, hey, we need up armor. I remember I was coming back from Al Hilla with my buddy, and I look in the back, and he's got like 2 anti-tank weapons in the back.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, where'd you get these things? And he's like, well, somebody amnesty boxes, and don't worry, we like you can get whatever you needed, but at the same time, like you just did not have that support. And that's what I realized later, because I went back in as an Army intel officer and went back in 09 and 10. Like there's a reason why Big Army has all those checks and balances and stuff. It's because so you can support when somebody's sitting on a rooftop in Fallujah with a Nokia brick phone, right? But dude, we also didn't have to play by all the rules, right? There's no PCI, PCC. They put us in this convoy. So I was protecting John Bolton. Was it John Bolton? The guy with the mustache? I don't know. I thought it was a guy that plays the saxophone. And then they were like, no, it's some important guy that's like keeping the war going. And I was like, well, that's disappointing. So,
John Bolton kept every war going.
Yeah. And any more that are going to follow.
Right,
Out of Warhawks being Warhawks, that dude is the biggest ever. Like it's
Daddy
crazy.
Warhawk.
He needs a monocle. We need to get that guy a monocle.
That guy
He really
such
does. He kind of looks like the Monopoly guy if the Monopoly guy sought for endless war and American death.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I protected him. You guys are welcome. And
you had an opportunity. And
I did.
Yeah, I know. Who else did you protect? Woodrow Wilson, you piece of crap. Like any other deviants in American history that you can tell us that you protected?
I mean, every Republican senator I protected at some point that was like,
All
keep
of
that
them,
war
then.
going. We're gonna win.
Good.
I know it. So
I know it. Yeah.
so dude, they put us in this Army convoy that's like 6 miles long. They're like, oh, you got to go check in, and dude, we drive through the gate, and I was like, don't worry, guys. I speak security forces, so I'll get us in. So I tell the security forces guy, like, dude, we're here for this convoy. And we sat there for 4 hours waiting for the convoy to actually get going. I refused to check us in because the last thing I want to do is get over to the green zone and then have to go through that process of like the convoy where you say, oh, these people went here, these people went there. So I just didn't check us in. If we would have been blown up, dude, nobody would have even known that we were there. We would have been the guy in Fallujah on the rooftop. Like nobody had a clue. But the nice thing is I didn't want to deal with it. So as soon as the convoy got through the front gate, I just took off and we went back to our rooms and went to bed. So like it was so great being a contractor, but at the same time, you don't get a parade when you die. Like nobody's like, oh my God, that guy was a hero. Let's give him something. Let's bury him in Arlington National Cemetery. They're like, oh, that guy was out there for the money. Toss him in the dumpster. He'll be fine.
Was that the gist you got from the embassy folks and the state folks that kind of held the contracts out there? Like, what was that relationship like? How did they treat you? How did they talk to you? Like how did you feel like you were viewed from that lens over there? Those folks. Oh,
dude, we were like the primates hanging out at like the nice dinner party as far as they were concerned. Like so we had a guy, he went to Tufts University to get his undergraduate degree. And we were all talking to one of those, like the minions, I call them. They're like the dudes that aren't the actual diplomats, but they have like 8 to 10 minions that go with them everywhere. Yep. So we're sitting at a picnic table and this guy's like, oh, where'd you go to college? And I was like, Yavapai Community. Yeah, I did like 3 classes there. Had like a 1.8 GPA. And then my buddy's like, oh, I went to Tufts. And the guy's like, oh, you went to like Tufts? And he's like, yeah, I went to Tufts University. I got my grad. And he's like, what are you doing this job for? And he's like, because I make like 8 times what you make. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they would like literally, they would talk to us like we were primates and we were grabbing our turds and smearing them on the side of porta potties, man. And then, dude, we had one guy. I'm going to tell you, the Blackwater guys I worked with, some of the smartest dudes on the planet, right? they weren't college guys, right? They were like, I'm going to go try to do something really cool. Instead of getting into Harvard and testing my brains, I'm going to go test my brains and my bronze. We had a guy, he was a former Marine, literally applied to Harvard and was like, I'm going to go to Harvard and get my degree so that I can come back and contract, and just rub it in these guys' faces. So he gets into Harvard, dude. I don't know how. Very smart guy. He's going for economics. He's like, it wasn't hard enough. So he goes into econometrics, which I don't even know what that is, dude. I just know it's like way harder. And he was like, and then I would go back on these contracts, and they'd be like, oh, where'd you go to college? And he's like, Harvard. Econometrics. Like, dude, like he was making enough money that he was like, I'm just gonna rub it in these people's faces, dude.
Yeah.
The only way to get these dudes to college is so they could, out of spite, so they could just tell people like, yeah.
Yeah, guess
I'm
what?
I'm not a Neanderthal. Look at that. I'm actually smart.
Well, dude, and it was just this weird paradigm, right? Like they're dependent on us to get them from point A to point B, but at the same time, a lot of the State Department is fed by these ultra liberal colleges, and they want you to go out there and be like the nice, sweet person, right? I mean, I'll tell you, the other problem we had is like police officers, and it's not that they're bad dudes; it's that they're trained to go in and de-escalate situations. And in a combat zone with all these military knuckleheads, like see gun, shoot gun, and these guys are like, well, I don't know if I would have shot right there. And the State Department guys are the same way. Did you really have to hit that car? Did you have to take that bottle of piss and throw it out the window into their vehicle? Like, yes, I did. I did. I didn't have to. I didn't have to do the Gatorade pee. Like, I could have done like one of the nicer ones where it was a little bit clearer. But like, dude, I was mad. I was having a bad day. Okay?
Yeah. Well, going back through there, like, what would you say your craziest mission or your craziest situation was that you were in? It's just, whether it was a kind of a planned operation or was it just a whole crap? Like, now we're in it.
Dude, I was extremely lucky, but I'll tell you the one time I thought I was absolutely dead is we were flying, I think, to Erbil. We get in these Black Hawks and we lift off out of the green zone, and as soon as we get over Baghdad, like we start taking fire left and right, dude. I'm like, oh my god, we are dead. There's an RPG over there, and then nothing happened. Well, it turns out it was those freaking flares that they shoot. And I was talking to a Black Hawk helicopter pilot after that, and he said, yeah, all the burn pits would cause those things to malfunction, and they would start shooting off the flares in the back. And I was like, dude, I'm just dead. So, but the craziest was I got onto the QRF sometime in like early 05. And when we say QRF, like you think of those guys that are sitting there playing cards and they're just ready to rock. Like we just took our Humvees out and we escorted people from like point A to point B. So I like to call it an escort service because I think that sounds sexy. There I was on the escort service. But dude, we would just roll in front of these convoys and essentially clear the entire route for them, windows down, just waiting, like literally with like your like horse blinders, like this is your Humvee window that you're looking out, just waiting for something to blow up in your face. And we were doing 8, 9, 10 runs a day at any given time, just hoping nothing bad happened. But I think a lot of the Blackwater guys that you hear about are going to tell you these harrowing stories about when they got blown up or when they got sniped or I'm not saying those things didn't happen. I am saying those things didn't happen to me. And they didn't happen when I was in Blackwater in Baghdad. So I think a lot of those dudes are telling fish stories. And I'm not trying to talk crap because maybe it did happen and, I wasn't there. But I was on the QRF. So if you got blown up, you know who they called? They called us so that we could drag those vehicles back in. So
no veteran has ever lied or
Right.
made
How
more
dare
of their
you.
experience than what actually happened. I don't know what you're talking about, Morgan.
yeah, so this one time we were driving and I got blown up by 8 different directions. And
There we go.
no, dude, like here's the thing. We're not stupid. Like I'm not driving down Haifa Street. I'm not popping out of the green zone going north and being like, I better go down Haifa Street because that's where all the Iranian guards are, right? There's no reason for us to go out there and start finding. There's no movement to contact. Get from point A to point B and get people back as safely as you possibly can. Now, dude, when we were rocking in the QRF, like we were always shooting, but that's because there was car bombs all over. They were all the rage in 04, 05. They were like, you know what we need to do, guys? We need to load up this garbage truck full of explosives and blow it up at the gate. Like, dude, it was just constant.
Yep.
So, but we're also not savages. So like when I shot, I would always shoot tire, grill, windshield, right? Like use that natural progression of your
Mhm.
weapon kind of popping up to be able to go where you need. Granted, probably nobody wants to have like their radiator shot by my M4, but at the end of the day, I also don't want you driving up on me, bro. Like I'm not trying to be a dick.
Right. No, 100%. You got a vehicle approaching you from the south, or not the south, from like 6 o'clock, and you're going, and you're like, you're obviously going like, hey, get the hell
Yeah.
back, you know. And then finally, it's like, okay, well, bing, bing, just escalation. And if they're still rolling, it's like, all right, man. Well, obviously something's up, because they understand violence. They don't understand like, hey, let's speak like they understand violence. So as I use escalation of force. And then next thing you know, I got to shoot through the windshield, like because
Did you
you're
ever
just
feel
not
like an Italian woman while you were yelling at them? Because you were supposed to do this.
Hey,
Imshi, imshi,
My
imshi.
wife
Yeah.
with the idea.
Dude, I couldn't get over. Like every time I do it, I'd be like, imshi, and I'd be like, I may as well just grow out a mustache because I'm an Italian woman. That is.
well, I mean, you know, to Trent's point, you definitely missed an opportunity, because it's not like there's very many records of what you guys did or didn't do. So you could have totally just been like, yeah, I had 50 grenades that I was just chucking out, you know, just chucking them, just killing Iranians and stuff like that. And you didn't. So kudos to you.
Dude, I will tell you, and I write about this in the book because I'm an idiot, but I had a flashbang grenade that was given to me by our team leader. He was a Navy SEAL guy, and he's like, okay, we're going to go through the market. And when we go through the market, Morgan, you're going to throw this out the window. You got to pop the pin and throw it out the window. And I was like, all right, whatever, dude. Like these guys are going to laugh about it later. Let's be honest. It's a flashbang. It's not a big deal. They'll send me Christmas cards. So, dude, we go through this market, and it's got a pin on the top and a pin on the bottom. Dude, I've never touched a flashbang grenade in my life. So I just grab one pin and I fling it out.
Perfect.
And everybody's like, I didn't hear the flashbang go off. And I was like, I threw it. I pulled the pin. And they're like, did you pull both pins? And I was like, dude, I'm not going to hold. Like, I got my M4 here. I'm not going to pull a pin and then wait for this thing to like blow up to try to get to the other pin while I'm still trying to like, dude, I just picked one and went. And they're like, you suck, Morgan. And then they all just punched me in the shoulder on the way out. I was like, it's like
a
my
circle
penance.
and a triangle, and you need both to work. And it's a weird thing, but
Somebody should have told me that. I would have. I mean, but if you pull the top pin, how long do you have to wait before you? Like,
They were
like,
so
does it just
looking
not
forward
do
to the
anything?
flashbang
Yeah,
going
but
off in the market. They're like, this is going to be hilarious. And then you ruined their day.
Dude, I was trying to like help the local population. Here's another thing we did. It's kind of a dick move, but we had the jammers in our limos. So the limo is where you always put the principal. It had the best armor. Dude, they actually do have smoke screen, like James Bond style, where it drops oil onto the exhaust system, and it supposedly like does like a smoke screen. So we would drive into these markets and we'd flip on the jammers, and you'd look at all the Iraqis that are like, and then they just stop and look at their phone.
what
Were
they like
we'd
again?
flip the jammer off, and they'd call back, and then we'd wait like 2 or 3 minutes, and we'd flip it back on. Dude, it was hilarious. I mean, I don't feel bad about it, but dude, it was still funny.
Well, you mentioned the book, which is what I'm happy about. So you got Guns, Girls, and Greed. So tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, so I went pretty hard on the title on this one because the Blackwater guys were so pissed off that I wrote a book. And they were like Blackwater threatened to sue me, make my kids homeless. Like it was not good. So I was like, oh,
Why?
well, because I was not. So my book is the ground level, dude. It is not Jeremy Skakill's book that says we were all the devil. It is not Eric Prince's book saying we are all heroes. It's literally like the good and the bad of private military contractors. And a lot of the people that initially read it were like, you're making us look bad. Well, dude, we did some bad shit. Like that's how that works. So I just went at them when I retitled the book. It was Guns, Girls, and Greed. I was a Blackwater mercenary. Because if you come at me, grandma didn't raise no bitch. All right. I'm going to go back at you. So, plus, dude, that's all we talked about. That's all. There was guns, right? Like, what are you running? What are you getting off of the market? I should have put steroids in there too, but it's too long.
But you could have
girls,
had
dude,
guns, girl, gear, and greed. It even works.
yeah,
Oh,
four
dear.
Gs.
Oh, you didn't contact me
Gear.
beforehand? God, I'm good at
No.
branding. Everybody
Right.
knows on this platform that I am the best at keeping very close to branding and knowing exactly what our branding is.
Well, I'll re-release it just for this. I will do
I
that.
appreciate that. I also want to. I also need I want to have like one of the testimonials on it because I'm only on one book for testimonials. I want to have 2 books for testimonials. So,
Oh, bro, I can hook you up on that. That's
I'll
easy.
write you a blurb.
Dude, I'll write the blurb for you.
Perfect. Perfect. You really want to piss people off. If you really want to hit like a wider swath of people that you've made mad, put my name next to anything that you've done.
Don't worry, dude. I'm the most hated former Blackwater employee on the planet. They told me I am not invited to the annual reunion. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me?
After
I
Eric
was like an
raised
OG.
you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I still get invited to my high school reunion, and believe me, I did way worse over there. So, so girls,
Yeah, I was gonna say I understand the guns. I understand the greed. I have a story, a alleged story about the girls part with Blackwater, but I'm interested to see where you took it.
oh, I took it straight to Hooker Town, bro.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You go into Jordan and everybody's buying hookers. Amsterdam. I was with my buddy in Amsterdam, and he had a horrible hooker experience, which of course I put in the book. And then we got the crap beat out of us by 4 dudes because he was drunk and bumped into them. Like, dude, the only good hooker stories are the ones that go really bad. Nobody's like, oh, I bought a hooker and it was amazing. Like flowers came out of the ceiling. It's like, and then her brother came in and punched me in the mouth, and I had to dude. So yeah, just straight the hookers. I was shocked at how many people have no moral qualms about just getting hookers on their way home to see their wives. It was just shocking. It was shocking to me. So what's your story? Because I can tell you whether or not it's true.
Well, the one that I had heard that I think probably Trent and Aaron are also tracking is that, and nobody's surprised since the amount of SEALs that were part of Blackwater, or former SEALs that were part of Blackwater. And this is something that they would totally do, was you had a MWR liaison, so morale, welfare, recreation liaison, and she happened to be a very attractive prostitute that was also deployed in a, whether it was Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever, and then she was by appointment only, kind of thing for the guys. That's what we heard and was going around. Now, whether or not that was true, I have no idea.
That is so tame. That is so tame compared to what. Yeah.
Okay, so it is true.
Dude, it is. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's true out there that doesn't usually get in print. I'll tell you that. And Jordan would import these Russian girls, from the Russian bloc, and I flew into Jordan. There was 2 dudes that I knew that were already there, and they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a massage." And dude, I'm naive. I'm 24 years old, and I was like, "Cool." And they're like, "Are you gonna get a massage?" And I was like, "I've never had a massage. I could use a little deep tissue. That stuff's been kind of weighing on me. My sciatic nerve hurts a little
body work. I'm supposed to take care of this, this body of mine. Yeah, no, massage sounds great."
So, dude, I go and I get my massage, and then we meet up for dinner. My buddy's like, "How was your massage?" And I was like, "It was good. She really worked it out." And he's like, "Did you look at her hand?" I was like, "Why would I look at her hand?" And he's like, "Because that's what she used on me earlier." And I was like,
gross.
"Oh, dude, I was the third guy, and I was the one that was like, I'm not actually paying for the extra." So, yeah, dude, it is weird. It's this weird subculture, especially 0405. Now, look, it got more professional as we went. The same thing, everything happens 06, 07, 08. They started making the training longer. They started actually giving us Blue Force trackers and stuff so they could track us down. They made us wear polos. At one point, they were like, "You need to wear polo shirts." And I was like, "I don't get paid enough to wear a polo shirt, bro." So
this is bullshit.
Dude, it got better, but dude, the early days were it was so weird, man.
That's
Contracting was
fantastic.
huge over there. 'Cause you guys had, we had Blackwater, we had Triple Canopy, there was KBR, like all those massive contractors.
Well, dude, and that's the thing is that I talked to a lot of people that were former military, and they say, "Oh, we shot at Blackwater," and I was like, "Dude, there was literally a company out there called Custer's Battles. Like these were fly by night private military contractors that got a big contract and just came over." Buying whatever they possibly could to do like random missions. Oh, I'm just running ammunition and stuff. There's the book War Dogs, and they made a movie out of it. Like it was the Wild West. And here's what I've learned later, and this is what also makes people mad, is that when you put civilians in an active combat zone and they're doing kind of whatever they want, it's hard to build that into the strategy of the military. So at the end of the day, I can sit there and say, yeah, Blackwater didn't lose any principles. We did a good job. I don't think we were a value add by any stretch of the imagination. Like, you had no idea where we were, what we were doing. The whole reason we had to go into Fallujah in 04 is because those Blackwater guys got ambushed over there. Nobody knew what their route was. No, they didn't have any support. So you had Marines that went into Fallujah and got wounded and died because you have civilians on the battlefield that aren't coordinating with military. And I don't think that that's the proper way to fight wars. Call me crazy. I don't think that we've added a lot of value.
Yeah, but your casualty numbers don't count against the military official casualty numbers. So that's nice.
That's
well, dude, and nobody sits there like, dude, if a soldier, this is why that you see PMCs in Gaza, Ukraine, dude, Haiti, El Salvador, dude, it's across the globe right now. There's this explosion of these jobs because if you put boots on the ground and somebody dies, it's going to make the news for like 2 to 3 weeks. If you put a contractor on the ground and they die, nobody cares. There was 2 dudes that got hit in the Gaza contract. Nobody gave a crap. They said, oh, 2 guys got injured. It was like a blurb. Nobody cared. If those were soldiers, I guarantee that it would have made the news. So from a policy side, and I hate to get all educated because I've been making fart jokes this whole time. From a policy
you gotta
side,
start with policy and go to fart jokes. That's how the progression works.
I apologize. I'm
okay.
backwards. You should know this by now. I told you my Iraqi POW zebra underpants story. You know I don't have any. Anyway, so dude, if I'm a politician, I'm gonna put PMCs in there because when something bad happens, they blame the PMC. Blackwater had Nisser Square. Blackwater got hanged in Fallujah. UG Solutions is the bad guy over in Gaza. I don't have to sit there and put my policy directly to somebody that is employed by me. And I have a beautiful scapegoat. Like, dude, it's a horrible way to actually wage war. It is a spectacular way to wage war without having to put your name behind it. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys,
I was just like, man, I'm going to let that breathe for a second because that's probably the best way to freaking put it. And that's what's going on. So with all your time at Blackwater, the book, what's next for Morgan Lerette? What are we doing next? What do you care about?
Dude, when the book came out, I started seeing these random contracts to move children, like literal children from the US-Mexico border into the United States. And I thought it was crazy. Like, dude, I wear a NASCAR hat. I don't wear a tinfoil hat. I'm not that guy. I need data. So I started looking into the contracts, and it turns out the private military contractors, when we got done with Afghanistan and Iraq, moved to the US-Mexico border and were literally moving unaccompanied minors into the United States.
Oh.
And it's scuzzy, dude. It's absolutely scuzzy. And I'll do like the Reader's Digest version. So essentially, you drop a kid off at the US-Mexico border, Border Patrol takes it. They're not able to do anything with the child, but they have to have it out of their possession in 72 hours. They hand it off to a private military contractor, biggest contractor, MVM, Mike Victor Mike. They fly these kids, they bust these kids, they put them in Suburbans, they get them into the United States and hand them off to usually like a Catholic nonprofit. So when you guys kept hearing about that stuff in the news, that's where they're dropping them off. Now that is under the Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. You drop these kids off, drop off their paperwork, and then the people at the Office of Refugee Resettlement were literally just giving these kids away. They were not checking their sponsors. They were giving them to sponsors who had addresses that were strip clubs, that were for like storage areas, for empty parking lots. They were literally like would give 30 kids to the same person with an address that was a storage unit.
And this is American company, Americans. Not only are they driving them across the border, but they are also flying with them. Because I remember seeing some of the video, and some of it I think was actually from Dan Holloway, like his video of there's one American with a manila envelope and a bunch of people and that couldn't speak English, that didn't have passports, but yet they were kind of just waved onto this plane and I'm talking about commercial airlines, like your normal, from Atlanta to Austin kind of thing.
Yep.
And then when he would he confronted the actual American, and the guy's just like hiding his face and not saying anything, and he's like, dude, you're trafficking kids right now. We're like, what are you doing? You're an American. And it's just sickening.
This is why they use companies, is because a company does not have the same freedom of information requirements as the actual like Department of Homeland Security or Health and Human Services. So they have lost. So they brought in 350,000 kids. Put that in perspective, it's 240 kids a day. It is 8 classrooms of children every day that came in under the Biden administration. And look, dude, this started before Biden. I'm not trying to talk crap about one party or the other. It just exploded under Biden. 73,000 of those kids still haven't been found. You guys talk about the Brown Stadium. How many seats are in that Brown Stadium? Like 75,000?
Yeah, maybe. If that, it's not even that big. Probably like 65.
Yeah, so enough kids to fill every seat in that stadium on kickoff weekend have still been lost and cannot be found because they were giving these kids to people, and it has been shown that they were sent into like labor camps or labor, sex trafficking, you name it. These kids are being absolutely abused. So remember that weed bust that happened where they found 12 unaccompanied minors working in the California weed thing like 3-4 weeks ago? Yeah, that's where these kids are going, man. And that drives me crazy because, dude, PMC work is definitely that gray area of scummy, not scummy. This is scummy, and it's still going. Go on MVM's website. Go to MVM Careers. Right now, they have a job posting for travel youth coordinator. Part of that job description is putting car seats into vehicles. It's still happening. Anybody that's worked in corporate America knows you don't post a job because you need it done in 3 to 4 weeks. You need somebody to do that job yesterday. That's why it's posted. It's not happening as much, but it is still absolutely happening. Then you have the ORR facilities. Southwest Keys is one of the big ones. They have 5 subsidiaries, so you can't track it. Those guys were under indictment by the DOJ for sexually abusing unaccompanied minors. Like, dude, the whole thing is allowing people to do the Spider-Man meme and blame it on somebody else, right? And that's why you don't use private military contractors for things that are morally ambiguous by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't understand it because these are I get it that it's part of other people's cultures and that kind of stuff, but damn, dude, this is America. Like, these are American.
Made Peaches very mad. You can tell when Peaches gets actually mad, and it's when he talks like he's talking right now. He's very ticked off.
Well, you had retired general officers that were very upset about the border being closed down because of all this stuff. There's so much money going into these contracts, and there's so many people. If you look at who's on the boards of all the companies that are actually running all these things, it's to them it's just a money game. And so when change administration, you shut down the border, you're just taking money out of their pocket, and that's how they see it. It's really disgusting.
So the cartel actually used to call it Border Patrol Uber because what they figured out is they could go kidnap a kid down in South America. They could drop him off at the border, tell the kid, when you get to your final destination, this is your sponsor. There it is right there, man. Travel Youth Care Coordinator. So
that is the most disgusting thing on the face of the planet. I've never been more upset by anything than this right now.
Yeah, wow. I mean, dude, I'm happy to come back and kind of like dig harder into this, but at the end of the day, the cartels understood that they could get kids through this process legally and capture them on the back end before the U.S. figured out that there was a process to do it. So there's two things. There's it's called consumable goods and durable goods. A consumable good is the food you put in your fridge. A durable good is your refrigerator. You're going to get a lot more long-term value out of your refrigerator than the food you put into it. The cartels know that. Those kids that they bring across are durable goods. They can get 10, 15, 20 years out of these people, whether it's labor, sex slavery, whatever it is, and then discard them. And there's not nearly as much risk of going to jail as if you try to bring in consumable goods, your drugs, your cocaine, your meth, you name it. So there is the cartels are a business, and they figured out a way to exploit their competitor, which is the United States government.
Yeah, and all the projections, and this is just a terrible thing about the world we live in, but human trafficking, sex slavery, children trafficking, child trafficking is going to overtake the drug market in terms of overall global revenue within the next 3 years. It's really close right now. It's absolutely disgusting. I can't believe that American military contract organizations are involved in this. This is it's terrible.
Yeah. Well, dude, and then we had PMCs over in Haiti that were literally picking them up, taking them into Guantanamo Bay, and then moving them into Ohio, handing them off to these ORR facilities that was releasing them out. And then what happened? They started eating the cats and dogs, dude.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
I'm just saying. But, dude, it shows that not only were they showing up at the border and we were facilitating it, but we actually sent people overseas to help do this. And I've heard it was in Nicaragua. I've heard it was in some other places. I know it was in Haiti because I got a buddy that actually was on that contract.
Man, Morgan, we're going to have to bring you on. We're going to have to deep dive that one because I wish we would have started with that so that we could have ended on the fun Blackwater stories. Because I'll be honest with you, now I'm all ticked off. And now we're here at the end, and now I want to know more. So let's put a pin in it. Let's call it bringing you back for part 2. And we're really going to dig into that. Is there anything else that you want to put out there? Anything else that you care about? Anything that you're trying to get after other than obviously this huge problem with PMCs as we see them today?
Dude, that is literally my unicorn right now. And the other thing that we're seeing is that these private military contractors are now working for foreign governments. I don't know if that's a good thing, right? Like the guys in Gaza are being paid by a foreign government. What does that mean for like legally one of those guys gets captured? What happens? Does a foreign government have to go get them? Did we have to go get them? And you're seeing it in Haiti. Dude, I could list every place that it's happening, but U.S. private military contractors are putting U.S. citizens with passports on the ground in combat zones with zero legal protections. And if you think it was crazy when I was over there with the State Department passport, it's going to get way crazier coming up.
But the thing, but to your point, if it is a PMC and it's an American and they get captured, now that is now an American hostage. And that just gives people like John Bolton the excuse to go, see, we got to go in. We got to go destroy these people. And you're like, dude, I know what you're doing. I can see it. And for the rest of the public that doesn't know and understand what's going on, it's just a way to force us into that kind of stuff. Same with the Ukrainian stuff.
People ask me how World War III is going to kick off. It's going to be a PMC group that gets into a fight in Ukraine, gets captured by Russia. Like, that's what's going to trigger it. It's not U.S. boots on the ground. It's literally the same thing that happened in Fallujah, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Damn.
You guys want a fun story? I can end on the fun story if you want, but everybody's like, "Oh, now I'm pissed." You guys,
sure. End on the fun story, and then we'll close it up.
Okay, so this is not a Blackwater story, but I was telling Aaron this. During the ground offensive, like literally people would just drop off POWs, like EPWs. Just somebody got a nice bullet for saying enemy prisoner of war.
Yeah.
So, dude, they drop these guys off. They got sandbags on their head. They got duct tape over their eyes. And then they have a bottle of water and a Quran. And this guy is like, oh. And I was like, they're like, hey, Morgan, you're the lowest ranking guy. Go figure out what's going on. So, dude, I put on those purple rubber gloves, right? And I go over and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what's happening. And I finally crossed that language barrier. And I was like, this guy is about to crap his pants. So I pull him off to the side, and he's got like a shoestring holding his pants up. And I'm like helping him get his pants down because he's zip cuffed. So he gets his pants down. I swear to God, dude, he gets his pants down and he is wearing zebra striped panties, dude. Just straight up zebra striped panties. So he blasts mud And I go into the MRE bag that I got, and I get the wet wipe, right? You know, the wet wipe that's only like this big.
Oh,
it's like 3 inches by 2 inches. And I hand this to him like he's going to wipe his butt with his zip cuffs on. He tries. He makes a gallant effort, dude. I still applaud that. And I'm ripping up like a mac and cheese, a cheesy mac, chili mac box so he can wipe his butt. Not having any idea these guys just wipe their butt with their bare hands in water. And then I have to go through and like help him pull his zebra striped panties back up and his pants. And I was like, this is really war. This is what I signed up for. So
This is what I signed up for. I'm really doing the Lord's work here.
Dude, those are the stories that get lost. I just think they're hilarious, man.
Oh man.
Thank goodness. Thank you for the zebra. I never thought that my day would be brightened by a grown man wearing zebra striped panties pooping himself, but it actually did lighten the mood a little bit. I want to say thank you. You're a professional.
I'm here for you.
Morgan, thanks for coming on. We're going to come on with part 2. That's I think that's probably a subject that needs a little bit more sunlight, and it's something obviously that we care about here. So let's put a pin in it. We'll bring you back for part 2. For everybody else out there, man, thanks so much for joining. Go ahead and check the link tree out. It gets you to everywhere. Go to onesready.com. You can check everything out there. You get one of those sweet Midnight Hammer hats that Peaches is wearing to get yourself a sweet shirt. It helps us out because we like money. You know, it's cool. Morgan, thanks again for coming on. Everybody else, thank you. Make sure to like, share, subscribe to the episode. And we're going to have Morgan on for part 2. Thanks, Morgan.
Take care, guys.